Hope it's recording. I should say recording in progress. I'm not sure why it didn't say that yet. Let's see. No, it's recording, I think. Yeah, so welcome everyone to the panel. Thank you so much for the panelists who volunteer their time and knowledge to help others. I'm really grateful for that. And today's panel is about how to use AI tools, models, or any kind of resources that AI made available, widely spread and very fast, but maybe too fast, too much information out there, and now we got a bit overwhelmed at what is actually meaningful, productive. So we wanted to maybe synthesize these and do like help the others with your advice and your experience using these tools. I know some of the panelists just finalized their interviews, so that's also very useful to know because many students, and not just students, but many people are interviewing and would benefit from advice, how you went through that process and what helped you. So yeah, we can discuss all those. And any questions related to this topic, you can post on Slido. I posted the links in the chat. So you can ask and vote your favorite questions because we're going to read them in that order. And we can start with the introduction from the panelists. So just a short introduction. I can start. I'm Oana Ignat. I'm a assistant professor at Santa Clara University. And my work is focused on AI across different demographics, making sure it's developed responsibly across different languages, different cultures, income levels, and also applied AI for social good applications. Yeah, so that's in a nutshell about me. Who wants to go next? Maybe Aman?
Hey guys, thanks for organizing this. My name is Aman. I'm a scientist in Amazon. I work on the Bedrock guardrails side and agentic AI. I care a lot about how can we verify AI outputs, like all kinds of outputs at different levels, to basically figure out what is like real versus what is like just fluff, something very that we can verify to some degree. So I focus a lot on automated reasoning, formal verification. That has been my background, where I from that's been my training at Michigan, and I try to apply that to distinguish issues in the AI output today.
Great. Thank you so much, Aman. So I'm going in alphabetical order by the first name. So maybe Boli is next.
Yep. Sure. Hi everyone. My name is Boli. I'm currently working at DD Labs SLZ as an applied strategy principal, mostly focusing on large language products. Before I joined DD, I was a part of Microsoft, where my focus was mostly on Bing search. I've been working on using different kinds of machine learning and deep learning techniques to improve search and other NLP related tasks, say retrieval, um, relevance matching, question answering, and thank you so much for the opportunity to connect with everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Boli. Then we have Martin.
Hey, I'm Martin, and Oana and I and a few of us has been working on this ACL mentorship for a few months, years, yeah. And yeah, happy to be back after taking a break for a while. And currently, I'm a member of technical staff at Thinking Machines. Mostly, I work on multimodality and interactive learning, and happy to discuss and connect with everybody.
Great. Thank you, Martin. Yeah, it's been a few years. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's been a few years. Amazing.
Yeah. Okay. And Parth?
Hi everyone, I hope I am audible. And my name is Parth. I am currently a PhD student here at Santa Clara University under my advisor, Dr. Ignat. And just wrapping up my first academic year here at SCU. My research focus is in NLP, but specifically more in multimodal AI, image, text, video, audio. So multiple modalities, and at the same time, multilingual AI as well, how we can be more fair and incorporate data from multiple languages, and also building AI agents around them as well. So yeah, that's a short introduction about me. And thank you so much for the opportunity. Looking forward to a great discussion.
Great. Thank you so much, Parth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to have a good mix of academia, industry, and I know some of you are at this transition between academia and industry, which is also very interesting. Yeah, so let's see. We started getting questions. So I'll read the most voted ones, and I see a common theme here. So please continue writing questions as we can start discussing them. So let's see, the most voted one, I see 7 votes, which is pretty high. With AI moving so fast, I feel pressure to constantly optimize to keep up. How do you prioritize? I want to protect my health and think creatively. Yeah, I think that's a common concern, right? The pressure to optimize versus it kind of comes into conflict with this freedom of thinking creatively and exploration. So I'm sure every one of us experienced that. So how did you go about that? What solutions you found? Or your experience doesn't have to be perfect solutions, still ongoing.
I can start. I think I think about this a lot. I would say if you're feeling behind, I feel like everyone is, including the people who think that they are not. This field is moving like just too fast for anyone to catch up. And so it's not like a you problem. It's like a new normal. So whatever tools, let's say I recommend, anyone recommends today, in 6 months, that will be behind. Okay. In 1 year, it will be drastically behind, it feels. So I would say don't measure yourself against, like, say, okay, this is the bar. I have to excel in this. Measure, I think of it as measure like what questions you can ask now that you couldn't ask a year ago with the tools we have now. So like AI gave all of us like these superpowers that we haven't grown into. So we can use them to learn faster, but not skip the learning. So that's what I feel is super important.
Well, my perception is when it comes to what to prioritize, or what kind of AI tools to prioritize, I'd say one of the first things to prioritize is to have an idea of what you're going to do. There are multiple tasks at any given time that all the AI tools will be able to accomplish. But rather than to say which AI tools to learn first, which AI tools to keep up, I would say it really depends on what you do. It really depends on what kind of stuff you have to finish in the first place, before what kind of stuff that you need to finish afterwards. To me, I would treat the problem as if I were working in some more generic context, even in days where AI isn't really readily available. It's basically scheduling all the problems like a priority queue. Work on the more most important things first before working on the stuff that's not immediately relevant, not immediately impactful. Well, of course, everything has its value, but there's a need to prioritize.
Yes. Other thoughts or things to add to this?
Your PhD student have something to say?
Okay. Yeah, I think most importantly, the field is vast and then there are a lot of applications in literally every space for AI we see. The most important thing what I feel is, of course, you like the more you try to catch up, you would never be able to catch everything or be expert in everything. So maybe prioritizing in what field or what specific direction of applied AI, uh, a particular interest you have in, and then maybe try to catch up in those specific areas only. And apart from that, if we have extra time, you can also explore other areas in which AI is moving fast. Additionally, what I feel is nowadays people have started using strategies like, if you are just cooking alone and you have some like alone time in kitchen, so many a times they just put like a podcast thing where some discussion around AI is going on, or maybe some paper is being discussed. There are some YouTube channel which just put podcast just on some paper explanation in like 15-20 minutes. So I mean, it's like you are taking a Uber or cab anywhere. So like making use of those small times to catching up things. And apart from them, I think Hugging Face trending page is like really helpful. Sometimes for me, like many a times, whatever trending is happening is being put up there. There are also many Substack channels like Latent Space, wherein you get to see what new is happening or what latest is happening. And lastly, what I feel is, if something like super breakthrough is happening in AI, for example, RAG came in like 2 years ago, and then it suddenly uh, boomed a lot, and now some agents are booming a lot. So if something like super important is going to come, then definitely it will be a part of discussion everyone around you. So those things will be naturally like catched up by you, because everyone around you will be talking about it eventually. So maybe you don't have to take pressure that much about those things, because if something is super important and everyone is talking around you is talking about it, then you will definitely catch up. But it's maybe about, the pressure might be about just those niche things which you are interested in, but maybe you don't have time to catch up. So maybe prioritize those things more, because then those might be hard to be in the market, and then you have to specifically search for it.
Yeah, those are really great suggestions, and I really want to, I really echo what Parth just said, because I think there was a time where I am really anxious about like trying to catch up. I fear of missing out a lot of like new release, new papers every day. I start to read every archive paper posted on a daily basis. I think that was like 2022 or something at that time. And then like suddenly I realized that like first this is not going to be sustainable. And the more paper you read, actually it's like the more you read, actually you found mo most of the papers are actually not super relevant to your work, or people are just reinventing a lot of like terminologies around things that people already sort of like built. So I'm not saying that we should ignore their value. Instead, I'm saying like you should try to build your own kind of knowledge taxonomy, and you can place new things upon your own taxonomy that will help you to um, build your stack more like in a more organized way and save your efforts trying to connect papers, connect progress in this field. And I also would recommend everybody to um, connect with peers and discuss with peers more often, because these days a lot of time I feel like honestly I don't have I don't genuinely track every new papers like on a daily basis, but from discussions with my peers I know what's going on and what are something that really new, really exciting, what are some release from major stakeholders, and what are some buried perils in this field. Like if you have peers in your cohort, be sure to like connect and discuss. I think that's the most helpful um, thing to help me keep up. I'm really grateful for my friends and peers.
Great. Thank you so much. Yeah, I agree. I also feel the same, and yeah, I think I had a discussion with Parth maybe a week ago or something about this, and I had a personal story about when I was at the internship at Amazon. I was very into the like finalizing the internship, trying to publish a paper is very time consuming, like a lot of pressure, right, to finalize everything in that 3-month time before you lose any access to the company internal data and models. So I was very focused on doing that, and I couldn't really look too much around me, like what else is coming up. And I just heard people started talking, oh, this ChatGPT, like it's so powerful now. And I was just like, yeah, I still need to finish my paper. I need to see this first. And then, yeah, if it's really that powerful, probably I'll hear about it again. And yeah, I finalized my tasks. And then, of course, I continue hearing about the same ChatGPT model or even better models after that. And I didn't feel like I missed out on that just at that moment. So it's important to distinguish the noise from the really important things. Yeah. Okay. Great. Let's see other questions here. I see we're getting quite a few, so I'll try also to group them based on different topics. So if you have one tool that made you the most productive, can you share that or your experience with that? Or it was more like for you, was it a tool or it was more like a mindset shift that also helped to be more productive? Because sometimes the perspective matters more. Maybe you can share both if you have a favorite tool and also if something happened in your perspective or your mindset.
Well, if I have something to add on the question, I would say usually it's the perspective that really matters. There are lots of AI tools coming up, and there's a very quick wave of iteration that's coming up as well for all of those tools. Um, it's really hard to say which tool is going to be my favorite because depending on task that one's working on, we could be using different tools. We could be using even a combination of tools on the very same problem so that we could have this kind of a voting process as to which tool is going to be more useful and which kind of tools is going to be less useful. Uh, rather than just say if I have a favorite tool, I would say it's a method that really matters. Because before the age of generative AI, before the age of ChatGPT and everything else, a lot of our work consisted of this routine and repetitive parts where for let's just say for instance research where we have to spend a lot of time trying to read archive papers, for instance, trying to have an idea to try to follow track of Twitter posts or even a lot of new announcements at the frontier labs. With the introduction of generative AI, instead of having to do these repetitive tasks ourselves and thereby losing track of the process, what we could do is to get a really recent summary as to what is going on, say the past few weeks, the past 2 weeks, or the past month, so that we'll be able to have an idea what everyone has been up to without spending that much time on something that could otherwise have been more productive. So that would be one changing method to reduce the level of repetition and to really think about what to do next. The other aspect, which is more about the R&D, is about development. Everyone has been writing code by themselves. Everyone has been writing code by their hand manually. There is this concept called the vibe coding, which is basically reducing the need to write code physically ourselves. And that is also a huge change in mindset because instead of having to write the code, instead of having to organize the kind of code structure, the kind of a project structure, what we're going to do instead is to be a very good user, let's just say very good product manager, where we are going to be able to say what our needs are going to be and how we're going to review whatever's been produced. So those are two kinds of mindsets that I have changed in my head, to say the very least. I was able to reduce a lot of repetitive basic research scouring, and I was able to be a good communicator. Not in the sense of usual coding languages, but in the sense of delivering ideas, conveying ideas to different kinds of AI agents who would need to be very specific to get the jobs done, and who need something to be focused rather than to be too more generic. So yeah, I say those are two major changes in mindset, and I'm pretty sure there are more to come. But I'm most kind of curious what your thoughts are on the questions.
I can add because I feel I have one strong tool which has kind of changed my journey. Um, uh, I'm a big fan of Cloud Code. I don't know how, but like I try new tools, but over time I lose traction and I drift to some other tool. Uh, but for example, I tried Perplexity earlier, ChatGPT, but Cloud Code, like it has kind of, I feel like it has changed my style of work so much since last end of last year, and I feel uh, how it started with is basically at Amazon. We have Amazon believes a lot in providing tools and options. So Cloud Code was available, and there was an Amazon internal version Kiro that I was using before. I started using Cloud Code just to try, and I liked it. I liked it so much that I saw like for 2, 3 months I'm using it daily. I'm spending many hours with it. So I liked it so much that in my personal life, I decided that, hey, beyond for all the other works in my personal life, I also want to use Claude. And I took that subscription on my personal machine and now use it for everything. So beyond my work at Amazon, I use it basically for personal finances, uh, whether mortgage options, uh, uh, just study and try some hobby projects. So but the key learning here, if I connect back beyond the tool itself, is two things. That there is a amazing opportunity to customize these tools in your context. So like over time, you can build kind of a knowledge space and your judgment and taste within these tools. For example, whatever you are prompting, uh, you can make it so that, and whatever you are interacting with, you can make the artifacts live beyond that session in the memory. Over time, those things compound. So now when I look at, sometimes now I have like 400 plot sessions in the last 3 months. That is like insane. And some of those insights sometimes get uh, inherited in future sessions somehow. So I think that taste and judgment is super critical, and iterating and making everything queryable and compounding over time in a like a self-improving manner is for your special context, for your scenario, not like general knowledge, is super critical. And even though like memory feels like a small addition, it's such a huge thing, I feel. Um, so while execution is going to zero through all these coding assistants and so on, the judgment, your taste, super important still. And that's what helps distinguish what is like unreal and uh, like AI slop versus what's something worth building for.
Curious, do you actually have some parts or some features that you hope Cloud Code can improve, and you'd be really happy to invest more in this like tool or application?
I think the biggest concern I always feel, because I'm also in this guardrail space, is that hey, when I'm talking in my personal life, especially like mortgage options, personal finances, these are so private things. And I want, there are not enough guardrails, agent guardrails. Like, sometimes I saw like some information got leaked into a GitHub tracked thing, which I wanted everything to be local. Like, for example, these numbers, these are super personal things. I want things to get track, uh, but I don't want even sometimes in cloud memory it to get leaked. For example, the cloud maintains several sessions. I don't want in this session where I'm talking about my SSN and tax audit, any of that info to somehow leak in future sessions. So that guardrail concept, and this guardrail is agentic guardrails is a big topic, and there are several layers, and so it's not just one solution for everyone. I think the space needs to build a lot more, and yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I also wanted to experiment more with these LLMs for personal, and I started doing a bit of that, but then when I saw that the information I tend to give gets a bit more sensitive, then I started getting concerned, right? Like, what's gonna happen with this? Maybe they change their mind later, and right now they say they don't use your personal data for yeah, to sell it to other parties, but then they can change their mind. Like, I know that happened in a biotech company before. They got bankrupt and didn't have any other alternative than to sell the patient data, like DNA information, and very personal. So that can happen, definitely. So even though that's another big question, maybe another panel we can do that, how to balance, what's the solution of how to balance the power of that personalization and memory with the trust and making sure that data is not sold and you have control. So I want to spend some time this summer to have a local LLM to start building with that, even though in the beginning the performance is going to be much lower. I think in time it can catch up. But for sure, that's an important point that everyone should be aware of. Yeah. Other follow-ups or things you want to add?
I just want to add a different perspective. I mean, more towards maybe academia side. So I think the one thing which has helped me a lot with all these AI tools is I think it's more when writing my research papers. I mean, not like actually writing, but like other aspects of my research paper, like building plots or like showing data in a really compact space, because page limit is like a really big headache when you want to build some good quality papers and for some reputed conferences. So I think previously, I believe researchers used to need a lot of time. Like once they are done with all their experimentations, they need to figure out, oh, how am I going to show it, what to show, what not to, what to put in the appendix. I think those decisions, I think I can just take not even a day nowadays. I mean, I can just generate like really beautiful and compact, at the same time cool looking plots, and brainstorm on some really good ideas, like what to put in the main, what to put in the appendix, or like I just have this much vertical or horizontal space. I don't have to like worry about coding about it. So I think that part has like helped me a lot. Although not actual writing, I can still see how AI generated writing goes with normal human writing who knows how to write a good quality paper for some target conferences. But I think those things has helped a lot. And answering, and this also joins to my answer for the mindset shift, this these small things which we sometimes fail to acknowledge or recognize actually has a huge relief on our mindset as well, because now I can just put all that other energy into some other things, or I can parallelly manage some other tasks, because now I just know that there are tools who can generate if I just give them my numbers and data after I'm done with my experimentation, they can just build good plots for me or like manage space. I don't have to worry about the latex syntax on overleaf and other things. So I mean, those things could be dealt easily. I can just focus on what's the most important thing, and then I can spend my energy some other tasks or somewhere else. So I think more than time management, it has my perspective has shifted towards energy management nowadays. So how I can save my energy and where I can spend it more wisely, because AI saves a lot of time. Yeah, I hope that was useful. Yeah.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, I think that also addresses other questions in the slide of here, like for research. Some people are asking about how to use AI for research, how to balance using AI tools with critical thinking, independent reasoning to become better researchers. So yeah, to not lose that critical thinking, you shouldn't give everything away like that. Actually, the creativity part of it, right, the fun part should still be to the humans, to the researchers, so you can learn and advance, but give it more maybe the mundane, more like repetitive tasks. So how to fit in the LaTeX template, or how to make the figure in that size, or yeah, rotate it, or make it more like highlight certain things, right? And also brainstorming. Are there other things you recommend for research papers? Maybe also, yeah, you or other panelists.
I just have one small thing to add in this. I think whenever we are doing research nowadays, the most important thing which I find is, if AI says that, oh, this is like a really good novel contribution, or if we ask it, oh, this is the existing latest base paper, what extra or good improvement I can make over this, most of the time, like 9 out of 10 times, I have seen the idea it suggests, or whatever I tell it that, oh, I think this is like a really good novel idea, and it kind of agrees, and it's not a novel thing. Someone out there has already done it, or is being done. And then when I ask it again and again, or I ask it to search for more relevant paper, and then it says, oh no, this has already been done by this, or this has already been published somewhere. So I think be more mindful when you actually brainstorm with AI, that whether this should be like a novel or like a good critical improvement on something existing, or if you think that you are doing totally something new, is it actually new or somebody has already done it. Don't just rely because it is saying that it is novel. Most of the cases actually it is not. And so that part is something where I would be more careful and mindful when doing like a proper critical research.
Yeah, I noticed they have this effect of agreeing with you, right? And if you try to poke a bit more, they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, yeah, I was wrong." Other thoughts in this aspect for research?
I can say a bit more. I think this is becoming more and more critical. Like there's a whole discussion around whether we have reached how far we are from AGI or ASI. Uh, but I try to think of it instead of intelligence, as think of it as expertise. I feel like with these AI assisted tools, expertise is democratized. If I want to be a expert in some very specific thing, I have the capability to do that. And there are two things needed for it, like knowledge and access, for to become an expert in something. Like for knowledge, like all the historical things, and access, I mean, like you hire an expert, for example, for someone like for financial planning. Now, these two things you can get for almost free now through these tools. But what again remains is the judgment, whether something is worth building. That's the first thing. And whether w- what output it's saying, is it correct or not? Is it really correct or not? So these two things kind of keep things very hard. An example I would say is that like just 1 week back, I saw I got slightly influenced by some of the folks talking like Diana Hu from YC and Jack Dorsey about what it means to be AI native. Like, okay, how to run, for example, as a researcher, even fully autonomously. So what I did was I created all those personas for a side hobby project where I have a founder persona, I have what they call directly responsible individual persona and an IC persona, and I let it run for a week in a boxed, sandboxed environment and it produced like beautiful stuff, like almost 50 to 100 commits every day, running in pulses like sprints, like 2 week sprints, now collapsed into v- hours. So that's what like those engineering sprints happen, and like cross-checking each other. But and I forced itself that I'm not the manager, I'm not the founder, I am the IC still. When the AI native stuff stops, is getting stuck, that's when it prompts me that, hey, help me get out of it. So what happened is it was like 50,000 lines of code, like huge code, and I slightly browsed through it, felt intelligent and a lot of stuff. But when I looked at a bit more, the objective was, it was in some sense just a nice PDF generator, a report generator. So it was like it turned out to be a slop at that time. So like I deleted more than half of that code away. Now it learned from what I shared, and now it's still running 24/7 sprints. And let's see how it goes. But uh, I think this brings to this point, like, okay, the judgment is not going away. Uh, you can be now more ambitious based on and determined, like if you are exploring one particular niche research idea where you have expertise, now you can go beyond that. You can explore 5 different research ideas in parallel and gain expertise, but your judgment of what to build and how to verify what is built, this AI outputs is real or like novel or not, I think that still remains
Yeah, no, that's an important point, that we can be more efficient. I wonder, yeah, I feel like it's easier for us who went more to the classical training of thinking critically through what is important in research, how what to pay attention to, right? When we didn't have these tools, we had to learn this ourselves, and that helped a lot to develop this critical thinking skill. But what about the junior researchers, people who don't have that? Because I noticed an increase also with some of my students. They now I have to deal with that. They come to meetings and they say like, oh, I did 20 experiments and I have 100 slides with all these results. And I'm like, wow, you were so productive. Okay, let's see. And it's so much they don't understand. Like it's AI slop. A lot of those things are hallucinated. I asked them some questions, what exactly this metric means, and they don't know how to explain. So now it's like another thing I have to deal with. Before, if a student didn't work, at least I knew that it's no results, right? But now I have to distinguish the real from the AI slop. So that's and I don't think they do it on purpose. Some of them really think the model said something interesting and it's value in there, and some of it is some value, but not all of it. So how do you teach the junior students how to critically use these tools when they didn't have access before to the traditional way of learning? Yeah, I wonder that. I don't know if probably it's not just my experience. Maybe you also discovered that with your own mentees, colleagues.
It's like a double-edged sword. Like right now, I feel if I would start my PhD from day one, how differently I will operate now. But now I also value before AI whatever skills I learned in that normal process. One thing it ensured is I'm learning. I'm learning like into the weeds, all that PhD training as a researcher. I was not outsourcing everything to AI. And now, in some sense, if we use AI, it's great for compressing time uh, and just outsourcing. But I still don't want to stop learning. I think that boundary is hard. For example, in that 100 slides you mentioned, the taste where you found where the issue was, if you learn from that, that it should not happen. That's the crucial part. I will not skip those 100 slides and move to generate another 100 slides. I look at those 100 slides and try to figure out what were where I was wrong, what I can learn from it.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a good point. That's what I'm trying to do. Like when I ask those questions, I show them, well, actually, you didn't understand this concept. Please read about this. Like I send links to lectures, to some videos that go in depth into that concept, and they can learn that. And next time they know if those results are hallucinated or they're real. So yeah, but that's another thing that I just discovered. Exactly, it's a double-edged sword. Let's see. So I'm still trying to. Oh, maybe yeah. That's an interesting question. So I think it's related to our discussion about all these tools, and we can become our own. Like we can become managers of these agents with different skills, and maybe use them for different projects. So there is an interesting question. What do you think is more valuable in this era of AI, to be a generalist or a specialist? Like your experience. Maybe it's also related to what the companies are looking for now when you interview. Are they still looking for someone with deep expertise in a field, or they're more looking for someone who knows a bit of everything? Just from your experience, I don't know, in the interview process, or maybe, yeah, academia is a bit different than industry, so.
Yeah, perhaps I can share something. I think in most frontier labs and new labs, um, if you want to be really successful on a part that you are responsible for or you will deliver, of course, you will need to have very deep expertise in that specific area and you need to stay focused. Because a common pattern that I see is like people are usually like spreading too thin, putting so many plates on the table, and usually the people cannot focus and they have trouble deliver um, things on a good quality. So I would say like of course you need to have your special attitude. Like that is the part that keep you stand out among others, and this is the part that like make people trust you that you can own this part of work. But I would also argue that we people also need to um, have general like domain, like beyond your specific domain, you need to have some sort of a general knowledge. Because a lot of time, um, let's say for example, if you're a vision specialist, if you just understand vision, like you probably cannot work perfectly in a like, for example, like a multi-model large language model team because what you would need to deliver is something that is not just about vision. You will need to understand multi-model stuff. You need to understand the data. You need to understand the evaluation. You need to understand even the infrastructure, how to, for example, accelerate vision transformers, how to make sure the inference has good MFU or like like it's a pretty systematic thing from infra to like MLSys to your specific domain like vision or like to the whole like language model infrastructure like ecosystem. Like you will need to have all sorts of like general knowledge to succeed in a in industry. So I would say like of course you need to um have your speciality, that's for sure. But like I would also emphasize like being reasonably general is also pretty important nowadays in industry.
I can add, I fully agree. I feel like sometimes when I'm interviewing and within my company, uh, I see like in some sense, if you think of the from the company's perspective, they're like these different roles: product manager, DevOps, ML infra, and then researcher, engineer. Now the roles are blurring. That is in some sense like generalist versus specialist theme. So I think the specialist thing is not going away, I feel, because I think those insights that you have gained, the judgment and taste you have gained is not going away. But there is a unique opportunity. The opportunity is that now you can apply your expertise and specialty in a specific problem to more domains beyond uh, your scope. For example, let's say you solved a problem, you did some very cool research, and you published something, and now you have an awesome result. Now you can use some of these AI assistants to check if there is a similar problem in a very different domain, and you can apply the similar solution or maybe a different application of your solution there. So like, and you can now cascade things up. Uh, for example, if you look at, I briefly looked into the Claude Mythos system card, like this whole 100-page, 200-page document they released of how it's finding security vulnerabilities. It kind of chained things together, like applied something found in some source code in somewhere, applied those concepts somewhere else, or chained them two or three things together. And that makes me think, hey, that could be something go beyond your special niche problem. And now you have done the hard work. Very valuable. But how can you like spread it to more applicable challenge domains beyond that specific problem?
Well, I agree with both of you. There's one more thing to add. There are certain principles that predate the introduction of generative AI, ChatGPT, and all the AI products, which is basically when it comes to more generalist versus specialist, it's important to be both. So there is a saying that, in a way, a generalist who's able to work on 20 or 30 fields with ease is a specialist by itself. Because when it comes to working in an industry, what really matters is the certain amount of principles that will be able to translate into different domains. There are roughly 20 to 30 kind of designs and all the kind of tech principles and all the kinds of a tech framework that everyone has to master. And when it comes to domain specific knowledge, that would be of secondary importance in a way because yeah, sure, there's the issue with context switch, but when once we know the context, once we're able to have an idea where the context comes from, under what underlies the context is really isn't really that much that different. Say for instance, especially in these days when it comes to deep learning and all the kinds of architecture that is more or less based on transformers and on derivatives. When you have no idea what those architectures look like, the kind of needs on surface, let's just whether it's visual, whether it's auditory, whether it's a combination of both, really doesn't differ that much. Sure, there's some kind of engineering niche, and sure, there's some engineering hacks, but with the introduction of AI tools, which the introduction of AI Ripple, um, I'd say the distinction between the two is getting increasingly blurred. Uh, those are things that that's the kind of idea that I have working in different parts of search and different parts of I'd say or your recommendation. And that would be something to add in the age of, especially in the age of AI, I should say.
Yeah, it sounds like you have to be mostly a specialist, but also know how to generalize your specialty, your special skills. And let's see, we have less than 5 minutes, so maybe one final question. And I think we could end maybe with the safety component. It was touched upon briefly before, but yeah, so I really like that the students are, or yeah, the people here are thinking critically about the safety issues and how to apply that. So there is a question about how receptive is the AI community to methods or developing methods or skills for safety evaluation, agent safety, or is it a hard sell? I feel like
Agent safety is on one of the top priorities in neo labs and frontier labs in general.
my impression too.
Very, very, very appreciated. I feel like the thing right now is like a lot of the agentic safety evals are more are less scientifically rigorous. Like a lot of times like putting like explaining to the community like, hey, we observed this kind of a safety issue in this kind of a prompting settings. It's not really building a like modern or up-to-date agentic scaffold or harness, or like the benchmark is not really reproducible like in different stacks. So a lot of time it just stays like a behavioral warning to people. We have this kind of safety issues. I mean, that is still a valuable paper by itself, but if you really want to stand out, I would say it's actually you're going to put a lot of efforts trying to understand both agent and safety, and be sure you're building your evals or like building your contributions upon like modern or up-to-date agentic scaffold or harness, and then make sure your evals are reproducible across different stack across different models, across different agentic scaffold. So I think those are pretty, I would say like I would really appreciate and would love to see research in this direction personally. But I would also say like it's a very, very, very challenging field in my opinion.
Yes, maybe
Uh,
one
I
final
agree.
thought from everyone. Yeah, yes, sorry, Boli, go ahead.
Yeah, so just a final note, I agree with that. Safety in general is a one of the key benchmarks, especially when it comes to be the kind of applications that are aiming for businesses, not just for aim to customers. Um, there's a and there are even some kind of general guidelines when it comes to safety in using AI, not to mention how AI safety has been developed. Uh, but to work on AI safety poses its own set of challenges. And in order to really address those challenges, it yeah, let's just say if you're a student who's planning to work on the field, the issue is not only about working AI but also working on safety and to have this decent understanding what safety is going to look like. First of all, what it means to be safe, and then what it means to be AI, before finally knowing what it means to build a safe AI. So that would be one point to add.
And Aman, I think you also had a one.
Yeah, I think this is such a huge topic, and it's nowhere near solved. I feel safety, we should think of safety together with something, and to me, which is autonomy. How much autonomy you give it to your agents and AI, and safety together. And there is so many levels of different details where you can where there is a balance here. In some cases, in a sandbox environment, I can let the agent do a lot of things and increase the autonomy. In some other cases, I really want it to be work differently, and it evolves every day. Like it's not a static thing. So it's task dependent. It's and it's huge. For example, I think some things are common. Like okay, some huge risky things. Like for example, when you do Google search on something very unsafe, they will flag and block it. Same thing, I think. Like from 2022 AI output, they were they were unsafe to some degree sometimes, or can be easily fooled. But now, since all the research that has gone in 2023 and 2024 on red teaming AI, things are much safer to some degree on that. You can still fool it and make it produce unsafe output, but that is like a general standard of minimum, like common sense safety. But there are more subtleties. In some cases, I'm fine with my uh, my data to go upstream to the MCP tool calls and go, because that's required for like high quality output. Uh, but in some cases, I just don't want that. So I think this AI safety, especially agentic safety and autonomy balance, is huge. Right now, we are just scratching the surface. For example, with some tools like when uh, in coding assistance, when you are deleting things, it asks for user permission, but this is so big a space and so many evolving things. It's like a personalization, personalized to specific things, and a huge spectrum. It's not one bar.
Yes. Um, there's so much to discuss. Maybe we'll have another panel on AI safety. There's a lot, but it's a complex problem, and it's one that definitely more people have to think about and work on. So it's very encouraged to see that being discussed and researched. And I, yeah, I think we're also a bit at the time, so I just want to finalize the panel and thank the speakers. I really appreciate the discussions. We also managed to get more in depth in certain topics, which I really value, and addressed, I think, all the questions. I tried to organize them in bins around the same topics, so I hope I did a good job. But if not, please, you can let me know on email. You can ask more questions, and I can follow up. And don't forget to sign up in the form if you're interested in a mentor-mentee match. I have the link in the chat there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You can see the YouTube recording of this in a week or two. We'll see. I'll send a link to everyone. Thank you so much. I got really energized by this.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
having us.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity as well.
Thank you. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.
Bye.